Hey, we're back here again at Tecrunch Disrupt. I'm Arabella Santiago with Startup Live, and we're speaking with Nick Levezzo. Yes, he is the founder of FoundationDB, which just got an angel round, very, very spicy. But we want to talk about how you founded this company and what it is.
So me and my two co-founders, Dave and Dave, we did a startup prior to this called Visual Sciences, which was a data analysis and visualization company, mainly focused on web analytics, and it was acquired by Omniture maybe 3 years ago, and we were there for a year or so afterwards, and after taking a break, we got back together, decided we wanted to start another company, and figured we'd do some kind of apps or some kind of social thing, what seemed to be kind of the flavor of the day, and they're really hard technologists, and so they wanted to figure out, okay, if we're going to build a new company, what are we going to build the technology on? Because they didn't want to have the problem of encountering too much traffic and then not being able to scale up to meet the demand. So basically, there were a lot of great options out there for, AWS existed, Amazon Web Services, which did not exist prior when we started our last company. So many new tools that were great, but the one thing that we found that was not to our satisfaction was the databases. So basically, the way the landscape looked was there's relational databases like MySQL, Oracle, all those types of databases that there's a single database machine that has to hold the entire database. And if you outgrow that machine, you have to do all sorts of crazy stuff, partition the database, put layers in front of it to sort of take some of the load off of it. And it's a really, really developer, labor-intensive process to do that. So that was one option. The other options were these new NoSQL databases that you may have heard of, Cassandra, MongoDB, those types of databases. And they sort of did a great thing, which is taking the developer brain work out of distributing the data. So they do all of that partitioning, replication, all of that for you, which is great. But in the process to get there, they gave away something that older databases had, which is database consistency. And that basically, it's very complicated to describe exactly what that means, but basically one of the things is when you write something to the database and commit it, right? And then you want to read it again. It may not actually be there if you don't have consistency, or it may be an old value that you put there, or you might want to write 10 different things to the database, but there's an interruption in the middle and only 7 of them make it. So now your database may be corrupted because you lost 3 of those things that were integral to that transaction. So the fact that there was these databases, the relational databases that did not scale, but had consistency, and then there were scalable databases that did not have consistency, was what we saw. And instead of doing something that we thought was a lot easier, like an app or something like that, we
Don't tell anyone else here.
Let's just say we hid ourselves away in a cave for 3 years, and with some of the best computer science guys that we know and my two co-founders, and worked on FoundationDB. And just a couple months ago, we sort of started talking about it publicly, and we're in alpha right now, so we've got a couple hundred users that are using the product to build some stuff. And basically what FoundationDB is it is a distributed database, so it's a NoSQL database similar to all the other ones, MongoDB, Cassandra, HBase, all of those, but it has the consistency guarantees that were previously only associated with relational databases that are single machine databases. So we've taken sort of the best aspects of the relational databases and the newer databases and put them together.
So why do you think that no one has solved this problem until you guys came around?
There's really no easy answer to that other than it's an incredibly difficult problem. When we came out here, when we very first started this company in 2009, we came out to we're located in the DC area, by the way. We flew out to San Francisco. We wanted to talk to some people and make sure that there would be a need for this. And everyone we talked to, venture capital firms, all these types of people were basically like, you're sort of talking about the Holy Grail. Of course there's a need for it, but it really, people have tried, it really can't be done. And there were people that thought that there was, it was improvably impossible. but it isn't. It's just really, really hard. We had to build some custom tools. The guys actually developed some custom extensions to the C++ language that allowed them to write the code in a sane way. Basically, it compiles down from our special language called Flow into C++, and then compiles from C++ into machine code. We've developed some simulation frameworks that allow us to test 50,000, 100,000 like crazy failure scenarios every night on the code, on the live code. So we can simulate a cluster of 100 machines where the worst stuff imaginable happens. You have a machine, 5 machines go down, and then there's a network partition, and then packets don't arrive, and then all sorts of crazy stuff, and it's all seeded with random numbers, so it's meant to just introduce chaos into the system. And basically at the end of it, we look at what's left and see, were any of the consistency guarantees violated? And the answer, increasingly, it's always no now. When we first started out, it was, oh, heck yes, there's a lot of problems. So, when you're building a really big distributed system like this and you have strong guarantees, you have to be able to do tons of simulation to be able to find all of the weird stuff that can happen when there's problems, because the systems are just so complex.
So are any of the things that you've developed, including the language and also the actual technology, are they patented?
Not
patentable.
Patentable, yes. We've talked to intellectual property attorneys and stuff, so it's not the top priority for us right now is getting users, getting people to be interested in the technology, and of course to continue to develop the layers on top of it.
Well, that's my next question actually. Who are your users? Who are your customers?
Yeah, the users right now, the people we're going after is the developer community. So people that are building applications that want to have the ability to start out small, and grow. If they become the next Pinterest that just goes crazy overnight, they won't have to drop ship in like a ninja team of developers to just keep up with the traffic, to do their MySQL partitioning and all of the crazy black magic that these people generally have to do when their load increases by a factor of 1,000. With our system, they can just add new machines and increase the size of the cluster, and then use their developers to focus on adding new features that the people want, instead of just keeping up with the current load. So developers is who our user base is.
So do you know any of the numbers in terms of how much the developers would actually save in terms of money if they were to go on your system versus hire in a team of ninjas if they were to scale?
I couldn't give you exact numbers, but I think you could look at how much money companies like Pinterest and Twitter and all these guys have raised, and I can tell you that a very significant part of that is going to support their development, which is generally not just features. It's not the front pretty stuff. It's the back end stuff that's the really, really hard stuff, and those people are expensive. They're rare. And there have got to have been many startups that have failed because during their 15 minutes of fame, they were down, and all of a sudden, the distracted people look somewhere else, and by the time they're able to handle the traffic's not there. So we hope to allow developers to build upon FoundationDB, and then when they get the traffic, they can just scale the database easily. That's the promise that we hope to deliver.
That's awesome. Well, everybody wants to build a product that scales, and then it scales, and then you have a new set of problems, right? Exactly. So now you guys have a solution for that problem, which is great. So if developers out there want to know more about your company, where should they go?
Go to our website, www.foundationdb.com. There's actually a lot of information on there, a lot more than most database companies share. We've got some really interesting performance information, and if you're interested, you can just apply to get the alpha, and we're giving it out pretty liberally right now. So if you apply, you'll probably have it in your hands in a day.
That'll be great. We're actually having a Data Week Startup Live startup pitch in a couple weeks, so we'd love for you to be there if you're interested.
Definitely.
And be awesome. Great. We love data. We're all data nerds. So great. Well, thank you for watching. That is FoundationDB. Check them out, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/startuplive.